What you're seeing in Qatar is a struggle between the capitalist way of life and the Islamic way of life. This is not to say that the Qatari government represents Islam in any way. If they do so, it's nothing more than opportunistic. One of the fundamental principles of the capitalist way of life is the four freedoms: freedom of expression, personal freedom, freedom of ownership, and religious freedom. So the struggle you're seeing is the capitalist way of life trying to impose their freedom of expression and personal freedom on a society that is still clinging on to the Islamic principles, which is slavery to Allah Azza wa Jal. And I want you to think about that carefully. The West's way of life is freedom from slavery to Allah Azza wa Jal. They freed themselves from God during the Dark Ages when they freed themselves from the church and separated the state from church. That's their freedom. Their freedom is freedom from Allah telling them what to do. And they resent the idea of anybody trying to impose the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal on them because they're still traumatized by what the church did to them. Muslims, on the other hand, believe in slavery to Allah Azza wa Jal. We are servants of Allah Azza wa Jal. He tells us what to do and we do it. That's why we reject homosexuality, transgenderism, drinking alcohol, doing drugs. We reject these things because our Creator tells us to. And Western society hates that. That's why they'll wear the armbands. They'll cover their mouths looking like hypocritical fools. When they go to Russia, which doesn't allow homosexuality, they don't cover their mouth. When they go to China, they don't cover their mouth or fight to wear armbands. That offends the government. And the reason why is because China and Russia are ideologically capitalist. While yes, Russia and China still have some remnants of communism in them, they're not communist states, they're capitalist states. And therefore, capitalism doesn't really have a problem with them. But once you start trying to bring Islamic laws into society, you're contradicting secularism. And once you contradict secularism, it's war. That's why people are up in arms on this issue. It's a struggle between secularism and Islam. The secularists are fighting for their religion. They're coming to our lands and trying to impose their religion, secularism, on the Muslims. The irony is, the secular West does not recognize that they are now a failed state. They think that just because they're advanced technologically, that means they're advanced morally and psychologically. The truth of the matter is, they're absolutely backwards and entirely failed as a society, psychologically and morally. Muslims, on the other hand, we are the most advanced nation in the world, psychologically and morally. Islam is the last stand for morality in this world. You don't find Muslims debating what is a woman. We know what a woman is. You're the ones who don't know what a woman is, and you want to come to our lands and start trying to tell us how to live our lives and what to do? You think that you're an authority on anything in psychology? You're a disaster psychologically. You have no right to come to us and tell us anything about morality. You're a cesspool of immorality. Your society is rotten and corrupt to its core morally. Muslims are the only ones left in this world that can stand for what the Creator of the universe has guided humanity to. And what you're seeing in Qatar is just a hint of this. Once you see the Muslims return, when the true Khilafah is reestablished and secularism is completely uprooted from our lands and all forms of man-made law are removed and Islam is restored, then you will truly see what morality actually looks like on a top to bottom societal level. And therefore, don't come to our lands and start preaching to us about things that you are an absolute disaster on. We don't want your debauchery, your immorality, your psychological confusion, or your mental health problems. So keep it out of our lands. You want to come to our lands? You obey our rules. So if you want to come to our lands and show us some technology, feel free to. We're more than happy to listen because you're doing a great job with that. But if you want to come to our lands and start talking about psychology, morality, and right and wrong, you can take it, stuff it, and you should sit down and listen to us. Enjoy your World Cup.